Hey there, my name's Alex and these are my beehives. I've got 8 colonies of honeybees now, and it's been a really busy year of beekeeping so far, and the main job this year has been to expand the apiary. So last winter I started with 3 colonies, one of them died. I then got given a colony of honeybees, which made the numbers back up to 3 again, and then from those 3 beehives we have divided them into these 8 beehives that you see behind me. This year has been incredibly wet, and when it's raining the bees don't like to go out and forage as much, so they can't collect the nectar, which in turn turns into honey. But over the past week or so the weather has brightened up quite a bit. We've had many days over 20 degrees. There's so many clover flowers out at the moment, and also all the blackberry flowers are around, and those are some of the main sources of nectar for the bees at this time of year. So in just a second we're going to look through all the hives and see what's going on. I've got to check that all the queen bees are okay and laying eggs. I will also check for swarm cells. Fingers crossed we don't see any. So far we've managed to avoid any swarming. And also we'll be taking a peek inside the honey boxes to see if they're bringing in any fresh nectar. I also want to thank the great people at Planet Wild for supporting this channel, and later on in this video we're going to take a look at one of their recent missions where they are protecting elephants with honeybees. It sounds crazy, but honestly stay tuned because it's pretty interesting. Right, let's get inside the beehives. Now my beekeeping inspections take quite a bit more of my time than they used to. Going through one hive is obviously pretty quick, but when you've got to do the same thing on 8 or so, yeah, it turns into a bit more of a job. So this hive, if I remember, is pretty small, but there should be a queen bee in there. Yeah, you see there's not many bees actually. All I want to see is that they're laying eggs and that there's a queen in there. I don't really need to see much else. Okay, so I see eggs. Let's see if we can find the queen as well. There's the queen. There she is. The green mark on her head means that she was born this year. And as you can see, she's laying eggs and there's brood which will soon hatch. Now this colony is so small. It's on 1, 2, 3, 4 frames. It's not going to produce me a honey harvest, I'm pretty certain of that. And the aim for this colony over the next few months is to just expand it and get it through the winter. And on this outside frame they're actually storing food, which is cool. There's a bit of weight to that, and that gives me confidence that they have got enough food in there. Right, I don't need to do anything else with that one. Now because my memory's so bad, I've got this, my bee notebook. And what I'll do is I'll just note down things that I see, and then I can just have it for reference in the future. Oh wow, what? They have exploded. So this started as 2 frames back in, was it May? I think it was May. And now they've got no room. You can see they've been working super hard because there's wax comb being built in the feeder. They have completely run out of space in here. We need to put this inside a full-sized hive now. That is exciting. Oh, it's so heavy as well. They've got so much stuff in there. Gosh, it's so exciting when they actually start building so much new comb. Then we grab a brood box. So the difference in size between a brood box and a nuke box. Nuke is about 5 or 6 frames. Full-sized hive is 12 or 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This one has 12 frames. Now we know there's 6 frames in there, so we've got to take out 6 frames in this one. Stay calm. Whoa. This frame is jam-packed with brood and also honey. There's the queen. It's good to know that she's in there. Once you know the queen is in there, then you can sort of be a bit more quick with your movings of frames. And every single one of these frames is completely full with brood, which means when they hatch, there's going to be so many bees flying. I'm almost tempted to put a super on this hive. Oh wow, amazing. I can't believe the expansion. Like, that frame is just full of honey, absolutely full. Now what I can do to make them draw out the comb quicker is I can move this frame over here and then pop this frame with nothing on it in between. Now moving frames around like that I don't think can be done all the time. If a colony is small or it's cold, you don't want to do that because then this one is isolated and then the brood on that frame may chill and die. And that happened to me on one of my other hives. I moved a frame too far away from the nest and it didn't work. But at this time of year, when the bees are really active, I think it can work okay. I'm going to do that on this side as well. It'll hopefully just speed up the drawing out of the frames. This is so exciting. So much going on. Now I'm hoping that there's enough bees in there and enough time left for them to collect loads more nectar. So I'm going to put this queen excluder on. And I've been putting supers on at a 90-degree angle. I was taught this by a beekeeper I met about a month ago. And it's interesting because I never thought they would draw out the combs if they were like laid out differently. But they in fact do, which is cool. And then on top we put the crown board. There we go. Full-sized hive. All set up. So this hive which I moved into the full-sized hive and this one here, they were both created at the same time. They were splits from one of my other hives. So it'll be interesting to compare and see what they're looking like. So this one is a little further ahead than that one. I moved this into a full-size hive a little bit earlier, and it's actually already got a super on it. So we're going to see if they've actually filled it up at all. Oh, they're definitely working on the super. I think I only put this super on like a few days ago. Oh my goodness. This colony, which didn't even exist in the spring, has now got about 4 frames which are nearly full of nectar. And you see this white wax here, that's super fresh wax. It looks so clean and new. But that frame there is almost full. What we will do is have a quick look inside the brood box because we don't want them to swarm and we need to check. So that box has got some weight to it now. You see, this colony isn't on many frames. Like, this frame isn't being used. Oh wow. They're filling this with nectar though. Now, it's not a very big colony, but they have built up so quickly from what they were. See there, all that fresh brood which will be born soon. I just don't want to see any swarm cells. Can you spot the queen? The green dot? She's been working just so hard, laying all those eggs. That is just what you want to see, a whole frame of brood. That means that the queen is laying so well and producing so many new bees that they should be so healthy and strong going through the winter. And that one's equally looking just as good. Oh man, it's all coming together. I made some colonies from splits and they've really worked out. And that frame there is just honey. Looking good. And we move on to the next. This little one here might need a full-size hive too. So this is a nuke box which I made myself this spring. And this little colony also came from one of my colonies that I started with this year. I made this one quite a bit later on in the year. Oh wow. Yeah, see they're also pretty full in there. I'm going to do the same thing as I did with the other one. Get that into a bigger hive. Oh, it's so heavy. Goes. Frame full of bees which will be born soon. And on the other side we got the queen, the green queen that we got from Lawrence at Black Mountain Honey, full of eggs in there. Same thing again. That is just a perfect frame. Oh my goodness. So good. Oh, it's just looking amazing. I don't know whether to give this one a super. What's more important than honey for me though is building up the colony, so I think with this one I'm going to leave it. And all the supplies that they collect, so all the nectar and pollen will go into building this brood area as opposed to making me honey. Next year is when the real honey harvest is coming. Hopefully, that's what my plan is. So you see all these white flowers here? That one. That is a white clover. And I heard from someone, somewhere, or I might have read it in a book, that almost all the UK's honey crop used to be from white clover. But obviously, white clover is like a meadow field plant. And as more and more of the meadows and fields are being used for other things, obviously the clover crop of honey is decreasing. But yeah, this clover is a member of the legume family. So it's quite closely related to peas, actually, like sweet peas or sugar snap peas. But they have loads of these little flowers, and when the conditions are right, they can produce quite a bit of nectar. I have been seeing quite a few of my bees on these flowers. And at the moment, this field out in front of the beehives is actually full of them. Over there are the beehives, and over here are the clover flowers. The other really valuable plant for honeybees right now are these brambles. Brambles are the plant which produce blackberry fruit. And it's always so amazing for me to see the multiple crops you get from the bramble. You get the flowers, and then the bees make honey from the nectar that it produces. And then afterwards you get these little beautiful black fruits that you can go and pick. And blackberries are so abundant in England. Like most hedgerows have them. Most gardens have them if the person looking after the garden isn't looking after it. They just grow naturally almost everywhere. But right now I think most beekeepers in this country are praying that the weather stays good. Because whilst these plants are flowering, we need the weather to be decent enough for the bees to actually leave the hive and forage. I was speaking to a local beekeeper actually about how showers in the summer are actually pretty good. Like if we get a little bit of rain, the plants can use that water and they can secrete more nectar, but not too much rain so that the bees can't actually forage. The ideal situation is that you get rain in the night and then sun in the day. So if you look carefully, you can see loads of little, almost stalks with little brown things on the end. Those brown things are anthers. The anther is like the male part of the flower. So that's where the bees will get their pollen from. And then in the center, you've got a load, it's very hard to see, but they will be the female part of the flower. Can't remember what it's called. Is it the stigma? So you've got one flower, but it's got both male and female parts. And if this flower gets pollinated, i.e. if the pollen goes onto the female part of the flower, then a fruit will be produced. Let's keep checking the beehives. Now we can check in what I think is the strongest colony that I have. And this is my original colony that I started with this year. So as you can see with this hive, I have 2 honey boxes already on there. We're gonna see how much of it they've filled up. It's always a good sight when you see bees bursting out the top. There aren't just some bees up there, there's quite a lot of them. We're gonna just lift one sample frame out the middle and see what's going on. Oh wow. They've done that in the space of a week. None of it is capped over yet, but it's heavy and it's pretty much full of honey. Oh, it's so good when the nectar starts coming in. It kind of makes you feel like it's all worth it. So this is an example of them starting to cap over the honey. You can see at the top here, the white cappings. They'll eventually do that to the whole frame. Honey is coming in though, and it's coming in fast. Yeah, so that second box is probably heavier. It's bursting with bees down here. It's ridiculous. Calm it, calm it. Oh, looking beautiful. Oh no, I think they might be thinking about swarming. Yeah, there's eggs in queen cells. Oh, there's another one under there. That is a sneaky queen cell. So we're just looking through this colony here, which is my strongest colony of them all. And we've got 2 honey boxes on this one, but we've just seen swarm cells. There's 2 of them there, really cleverly placed under. So if I don't do anything with this hive, they will swarm. I'll lose like half the bees. I'm gonna try something called a demarré split. Basically the aim is to split up the queen and the brood. So we're gonna do a bit of a manipulation here. Ah, that was a really bad sting right on the end of the thumb. But man, the fingertips and thumbs are the worst. Oh gosh, it feels like someone's sticking a sharp needle right in there. Okay, so we've got the queen in this cage. I'll place her just there. I've had a couple of stings now right on the fingertips and they're always so much worse. I've got to try and remember how to do this manipulation. First step is to take the old brood box and put it down. We then grab a new brood box. I'm lucky I had this with me because otherwise I wouldn't be able to do this. And I place it on top. So in this bottom box we're going to add the queen and a frame. We're going to also add this frame. It's got a frame of eggs and then the other side it's just open comb that the queen can lay eggs into. We're going to first make sure that there's no queen cells. And you guessed it, there is. So we're basically separating the queen from all the brood, and that will make them not swarm. I'm going to fill the rest of this box up with frames. There she is. So she can go down there and keep laying eggs. You see how basically we're just reducing the size of the colony, but we're not actually. because wait and see. On top of this, we're going to put the queen excluder. So the queen excluder means that the queen can't get up. And then we're going to put back on our honey boxes. Like so. And up here, we're going to put on that original brood box with all the brood. You might be saying, well, you haven't made the colony smaller, you haven't divided them, they're all still in this pile. Now the gap here is enough so that these bees will act as a separate colony almost. These bees will think they're queenless, so I will destroy all the queen cells in here so that they only have one queen. All the baby bees which hatch in this bit will then go down to the bottom and live with the queen, and then they will just backfill this box with nectar. That's the plan. I don't know if it's actually going to work. So what we've got to do now is make sure there's no queen cells up here. So we're going to look through really carefully now, and that's going to be by shaking the frame and then just looking. But there are none on that frame. There is one here. So there were two here. That one had an egg in, and this one, you see the egg inside that cell? It's tiny, but that would have been turned into a new queen. So we're getting rid of that. But I think I caught them early, like they were just thinking of swarming. So I'm gonna add another super just in case. Whoa there, this hive is massive now. It now has the brood box with the queen in, 2 supers, the brood box with all the brood in, but no queen. All the bees that hatch will then go down and be part of this colony. They will then backfill that with honey, hopefully. And then I put a extra super on just in case they need more space. It's a bit scary actually, don't want that to fall over. I need to come back in a few days and remove all the queen cells that they've created. If they create more queen cells in that box up there, because they have eggs up there, I'll need to come back and remove them. Checking through all the colonies doesn't take that long, but when you have to do a manipulation like in this hive just here, it suddenly doubles the length of time you spend. We're getting through them though, we've only got 2 more to do. This is also a split that I took from one of my original hives, which is actually also doing incredibly well. This colony was just 2 frames not that long ago. Lovely fresh wax being drawn out. There's the beautiful buckfast queen. They all seem to have kind of lightish coloured, gingery coloured bodies, and then at the end it's like a dark tip. But she's doing her job well. Looking so good. Absolutely beautiful. You see, it was only the colony which was really quite large, which was planning on swarming. All the others seem to be not swarmy at all. We're gonna add a super. Well, we'll see what that does. And lastly, we're going to look inside the colony which I picked up from Lawrence at Black Mountain Honey just about a month ago. I put a honey super on this hive just a few days ago, and they're already working on it. Oh wow, they've nearly fully filled up this frame. Oh wow. Look at that capped honey at the top there. That is so beautiful. And look at that for a frame of brood. Everything's looking really good in this hive. And the bees in this one are just unbelievably calm. And that is today's bee inspection done. I'll be back here in a few days to sort out the hive which we did the manipulation on, and also to keep an eye on whether the nectar is still coming in. I hope it just continues and continues. The longer the nectar flow lasts, the more honey we get. Now of course, bees are where we get honey from. Bees also do the big job of pollinating flowers, but I recently learned that bees are being used in Africa to protect elephants. And also humans. Now elephant numbers in Tanzania have declined by almost 90% in a 40-year time frame. This is partly due to poaching and also huge habitat loss. There's also a conflict between humans and elephants. Elephants can cause massive amounts of damage to farmers' crops and also buildings. But the interesting thing is that these huge elephants are actually scared of honeybees. And Planet Wild are helping fund a project which involves building a fence of beehives to scare elephants and in turn reduce elephant and human conflicts. You should definitely check out this video on their YouTube channel. Now Planet Wild is a nature protection organisation based in Berlin, but they do work all over the world. Each month Planet Wild will work on a new project. Bringing back the endangered little owls, turning power lines into insect highways and restoring ancient forests are just a few of their projects. As a member of Planet Wild, you'll have voting power with what projects to support, regular blog posts, detailed reports of their missions, you can connect with like-minded people through their Discord, and you can feel like you've done something impactful to protect the planet. You'll also be able to see exactly where the money is going through new videos each month on the latest missions. If you want to make a difference, you can join Planet Wild by scanning the QR code or click the link in the video description. The first 200 people to use the code justalex7 will enjoy the first month of a Planet Wild membership paid for by me. And if you want to learn more about how bees are being used to protect both elephants and humans, click the video on screen now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon for another video.